And there we go. That's the sound of the motor telling you it needs a break. Some steep climbs where I've wore the motor down and you'll hear it start to growl. There's some planetary gears in the motor. I think those are plastic. So I'm not sure if it's just the electric motor overheating or if those planetary gears are grinding. Either way, probably not good for the long-term life of the motor, but you give it about a 10-15 minute break and it's usually good to go. Water break. Supplies you should make sure you have with you on any trip like this. Tube repair patch kit. And one of the more valuable things that I keep with me, rechargeable tire inflator. You get stuck out somewhere, you got a flat tire, your only option may be to leave your bike stranded or push it and walk out of there. Sometimes you might be 5, 7, 10, 12 miles from where you need to be or need to get to. So definitely something to keep in your emergency kit. Nice view of the mountains. You can see Route 66 down below there. And all the cars trying to bypass Interstate 15. It's probably a good 6 miles before they get back onto Interstate 15 at Cleghorn, just below Highway 138. Took a break right here and let the bike get a break. Try to see if the motor's going to give me any assistance. Maybe not yet. Give it another 10 minutes to cool down. We'll see if the motor's prepared to take the remaining part of this trail up the ridge. You can see the trail veers off to the left that way. That side goes over and drops down to a fire shooting range. Excuse me, I was going to say firing range, but shooting range. And it continues up over some other hills and drops down right at Glen, Helen. Lytle Creek is just on the other side of these hills. We'll be able to see a little resort area and a nice view once we get to the peak here. Let's see how this goes. We're going to drop down into Lytle Creek. You can see down below at the end of the paved road, it keeps going into a dirt road all the way back into that canyon. Here is some property here. People have some horses, some land. Down below here though, I was going to show you a nice view from above. You could see there's a resort here with some lakes, and off around that left side there's some little cabins And people have, I don't believe it's a timeshare, I believe it's a ownership or a membership, but they have RVs and travel trailers that come in, and some people stay in the little cabins that are there. We'll be crossing by on the main road there. We're going to drop down the ridge over here by the campground and then come into town down below. Applewhite Road. The little dirt path you've seen right there cuts across this ridge, and there's a city, I believe it's a community center or civic center building, and the entry to the other dirt road that crosses back over towards Lost Lake. Right here at Sycamore Drive, there's a little tuckaway community called Happy Jack in Lytle Creek. Estimated population 280. Applewhite Campground. Right off the trail of Applewhite Road. You can see the ridge where you came down from up above there. Here we are pulling up to Scotland Store, Melody's place. If you're looking to get a bite to eat or something cold to drink, this is just about one of the only places to get it in Lytle Creek. Gonna head down the canyon and come around to Route 66 and head on back up towards Cajon Pass. This little Bonita Falls day use area was put in recent years. Provides towards parking access to the creek. On the other side of the ridge here to my right is Rancho Cucamonga. Straight ahead is Fontana. And over here just to my left is Glen, Helen, and in the distance San Bernardino. Passing by the Glen Helen Amphitheater here on the right, outdoor concert and other venue. It's a regional park and a water park. Right here is where 215 and 15 connect and head up Cajon Pass. A few years back when they redid this interchange, they connected Cajon Boulevard here with Route 66, so you can actually go under Interstate 15. This is Kenwood Avenue, which will take you back to the south and the north on-ramp for Interstate 15. Get our last glimpse of the sun before it dips behind the mountain there. We should see the sun again as we wind our way around the mountain and the hills over here, up ahead. You see this other roadway on the right. This was all part of the original Route 66. This was the original route that went up through the Cajon Pass up into the high desert. There was a summit inn at the top of the pass way back when. Famous people like Elvis used to travel to Vegas on this route, but it wasn't just a few hours to get to Vegas. It was an all-day trip. With traffic nowadays, sometimes it can be an all-day trip again. But Summit Inn at the top of the Cajon Pass burned down several years ago during some of the fires that came through the ridge there. I believe it was Blue Cut Ridge fire. But so way back when, this roadway you see on my right where it says road closed, it was lanes going northbound, and where I'm at now was lanes going southbound. Up around a bend up ahead is the area where the San Andreas Fault crosses. And these two mountain ranges and plates are pushing against each other. So this area here is right on the San Andreas Fault line. To my left is Lost Lake. And immediately on my left, down below here, is the wash for flood control, which is part of the San Andreas Fault line right through this area here. So right here at Swarthout Canyon, that's the road that loops around to Lost Lake. And after the tracks where it turns to dirt, that dirt road goes up to Highway 138. It's like we're chasing daylight. I think I've got enough battery power to make it back up to the high desert. I made this trip once before, but I started from my house in Victorville, California, and the extra distance to get to Cajon Pass and then down to Lytle Creek, it got dark before I could make it back up to the high desert. So I had to make the call of shame and call my wife to come pick me up. There's a McDonald's at Highway 138 and Interstate 15. So I parked there as it got dark and enjoyed an ice cream cone while I waited for my wife to pick me up. So hopefully I can make it back across on the dirt trail here and back up that ridge to where I'm parked at before it gets dark. If not, may have to come back to Highway 138 and make that call of shame. But we'll see how it goes. There's the Amtrak. Currently, construction is underway for the bullet train to go up, I believe, down the center of Interstate 15. I'm gonna make a turn here on Cajon Boulevard, but I'm gonna have to wait for the train to get by before I can cross. So if you come off of Cleghorn off I-15, or if you continue on Cajon Boulevard right here, you come down towards the end here and it drops down right here and you can cross the tracks, actually cross multiple sets of tracks, and then you'll cross a little stream over here which I crossed earlier, and this is the route that you come in from if you're in a off-road vehicle. So with my luck, I'll have to wait for that train to go by before I can cross. on the way in towards Lytle Creek, came around by the Mormon Mounds. I mentioned that you could go straight, you would come in here. So we're going to take this route back as darkness is coming soon. I think I need to make time to get back up to the high desert. We're going to cross from the west side of I-15 to the east side. We're going to connect with this dirt road. Comes off of Highway 138 on the northeast side of 138 and I-15, and it takes you up to a staging area. A lot of OHV riders come up here. So this is the staging area. Not much to it. Just a little outhouse restroom and open space that fills up every weekend. And my battery power is running low, so I may have to make that call a shame, because I don't think I have enough juice to go up that mountain range right there. Wish I did. I'm already getting the error code for low battery. So I'm gonna have to make the call a shame. Well, fortunately, this trail is all downhill all the way back to Highway 138. Well, I guess the fender didn't last. There we go. The fender actually slid forward and under the tire, and then just caused the whole tire to lose traction and slide like it's sliding on the plastic fender. So that's not good. Well, I guess the zip ties last me till I got back to McDonald's for a ride.